Hi, it's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. And let's see now. There we go. That's interesting. Well, I was trying to broadcast to X and it's not going to go there. So here we are. I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to Career Coach Office Hours. Tuesdays at noon Eastern, I spend some time answering questions from job hunters. Let's see now. Also had a problem connecting to LinkedIn. There we go. Let me take that from the top. I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to Career Coach Office Hours. Tuesdays at noon Eastern, I spend some time answering questions from job hunters about job search and any element of it. I used to do more than that, but the fact of the matter is my expertise is world-class around job search and extremely good about a variety of other things. But job searches, I know I'm world-class at. So I'll just simply say, if you've got a question for me, put it into chat so I can answer it live during the show. If you can't make a show live in the future, what you can always do is look for the Career Coach Office Hours and the date of the show. So today is July 16th, 2024. The next show will be July 23rd, 2024. Search for that on YouTube or on LinkedIn, and then mark that you'll attend. And from there, I'll just say, message me with your questions so that this way I can answer them during the show. And the way to do that is by going to linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. And then send your question to me there. I'll also mention JobSearch.community, where I have a great site there with video courses, books, and guides to help you with your search. I also coach people, quite obviously. And the idea of the content is to save you time and money. It's asynchronous learning for you. So I've got free stuff at JobSearch.community. Let me just get it out of the way and put my finger there to point to it, JobSearch.community. And then from there, you can always book time for coaching with me, and I can help you with your search. And I've got 6 levels of service, all of which have access to the content, and you can figure out which level makes the most sense for you, ranging from I only want the content and maybe they ask you some questions online, up to premium coaching, which is all the content plus it's 4 hours of time with me every month with a recurring membership there. So the long and the short of it is I can help you with your job search, because job hunting doesn't have to be as hard, difficult, painful, or take as long as it does. It's just the skills needed to find a job are different from those needed to do a job. And most of you make the mistake of conducting yourself as though, if I recite a bunch of facts to an employer, they will hire me. And it doesn't work that way. So I'll just simply say, visit JobSearch.community. If you're not sure which level of service to sign up for, go for the cheapest one and then figure out from there, because you'll have the content, whether you just need to ask me some questions, whether you'd like to get me on a Zoom call for 20 minutes a month, twice a month, or you want 4 hours of time with me every month for however long you're job searching. So again, that's JobSearch.community. Now, I always start these shows with an observation about the job market. And I spotted something on Reddit that was really very interesting. And it was a complaint about coaches. And someone had the funny idea of a reality show where boomers have to take the advice that they as a coach give people and see how long it takes for them to melt down. And obviously the idea is that most of the advice that boomer coaches give is useless. It's stupid. It doesn't work. Now, as you can tell, I'm not 24. I'm not Gen X. I'm not Gen Z. I'm a boomer. And I wrote back to this person and said, I pitched a similar idea to this and was shot down. And that's true, by the way. And I also pitched a Queer Eye for the Straight Guy type show, and that got closer, but it didn't get picked up. The problem with job search is that everyone expects the advice to be perfect every time, and it won't work that way. So I wrote, I'm a boomer, and a lot of the stupid boomer advice actually works, just not every time or even 10% of the time. I'm also shocked by what other coaches recommend. And there was one that I always give as an example that was really shocking to me, where someone wrote about some advice that they give people. And it's the idea of you send a single shoe in a box to a hiring manager and say, I want to get my foot in the door to meet you. Sounds crazy. And it worked for one of her clients. When you apply for jobs, you wind up in the black hole of the ATS system. Yet some people get jobs from applying. Not every time, of course. They don't even get interviews most of the time. But some people do get hired. And this person had complained about trying to meet with the hiring manager and thinking it was a waste of time. And I wrote back, often it is a waste of time. But sometimes it isn't. Learning to interview like an all-star instead of an amateur, many times it won't matter because someone as competent as you is willing to take 10,000 less than you, or you think you did better on interviews or do better on interviews than you actually do. As I said earlier, the skills needed to find a job are different than from those needed to do a job. And right now, despite what the government is telling you, if you're a college-educated professional, for 2 years now, the economy does not work for you. It works for people who will work for government, who work in leisure and hospitality, and a variety of other professions that don't necessarily require a college degree. But working through people you know, who know people you don't know, who may need someone like you, may work or not. Applying for jobs may work or not. We just never know because there's no one-size-fits-all solution for something as complicated as job hunting. So just be patient and do everything. It works, just not every time. Frederick, good to see you. Congratulations. Thank you. I hope I'm able to help you. I have a question. If I'm using ChatGPT for assistance in cover letters, knowing I need to customize it, what are the steps and prompts you recommend? Great question. So it's ideal if you have a job description that you're working against. So, for example, let's say, and Frederick, I don't remember what you do for a living. So I'm just going to make something up. Let's say you're a data analyst. You tell ChatGPT about your background, and you can say, hi, I'm a data analyst with X number of years of experience. This is my resume, and give it the resume, but not the contact information. It doesn't need it. There's no benefit for you to have it. Okay, I'll figure that out later. So you tell it about the background. So from there, I want to apply for this particular position. And you give it the job description. Nonprofit marketing is what he does. Okay, great. So the same concept applies. You just simply tell it what your background is, and this is the job I'd like to submit my resume for. Now, from there, you can say, draft a cover letter that's 4 paragraphs long that would highlight my background as fits this position. And it will craft something for you that I'm going to tell you right off the bat will not be perfect. I say that because it won't be in your voice. You can tell it what kind of voice to have. I want to have a casual yet professional voice, and then adapt it based upon what it writes. You can also scold it and tell it, this is terrible. It doesn't really speak about my background related to this role in this area, and I think that's going to be important, and it'll rewrite it for you. Have a conversation with ChatGPT, and we'll kick out something that'll be good, but you have to make it sound like you, Frederick. That's the most important thing. It has to sound like you, and Obviously, it has to be honest as well, but think of it sounding like you and the way you communicate. So, for example, if you've watched, I know you've been here before, and if you watch my videos when you sign up for the site, you'll discover very clearly that everything I write, everything I record sounds like me. It's my personality coming through. When I was still podcasting and I had a second show called Job Search Radio, the network that had the show hired a coach for me, and then another, and the third coach, Lorna Gladstone. I'm always so appreciative to Lorna, got through to me. She was a station manager for a talk station in Chicago. And Lorna got through to me and said, it's obvious you know the content, but people want to like you too. And you have to give them something to connect with you. That's your personality. Let it out. Frederick, I'm going to say the same thing to you. They're going to get a lot of resumes and a lot of cover letters that are going to be plausible. But the idea is to make everything sound like you, because the right organization will want to hire you, not just simply your background, but hire you. ChatGPT will give you a good draft, but you're going to have to tweak it to make it be you. And I know you know what I'm talking about. You're in marketing. It's about how you communicate with the audience so they get the service, they get the product. If someone is in a product field, I'll just simply say I look forward to helping you with, folks. That's JobSearch.community, where Frederick is going to be signing up later. So I look forward to helping you, and I hope you find the content helpful as well. So thank you. And if you have more questions, and if someone else has a question for me, feel free to put your question about job search into chat so I can answer it live. Okay. And again, as always, connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the big game hunter. My network tends to be a lot larger than most of yours. So if you connect with my 30,000 or so first level connections with me with 30,000, they become your second level. And that's going to help you with your networking, of course. So again, linkedin.com/IN/the big game hunter. Mention that you saw this. You're welcome, Frederick. I'm happy to help. Mention that you saw this so I can help you. And I also know that my time is well spent here. Okay. So I've received some questions from people who will not be able to be here probably, but will watch the replay, and I'll be able to answer their questions today, and they'll watch it later on. Okay. So how can I improve my LinkedIn headline is the question for today. Or the second question for today. Thank you, Frederick. I appreciate you being here, and I hope you found that helpful. So how can I improve my LinkedIn headline? And I'm going to start off with the premise that most people's LinkedIn headlines are terrible. Think of the LinkedIn headline as being a way of communicating in 260 characters or less certain keywords about you or certain branding information about you that's going to make people want to scroll down further. Now, for most of you, the best way to do a headline is to think in terms of keywords that someone might search for on LinkedIn to find you, separated by that pipe. That's the straight up and down line on the keyboard. Now, I'm a Windows user, so on my keyboard, it's the Shift / key. Toward the right-hand side underneath the backspace key on my keyboard. On a Mac, it may be different, but that's where it is on my Dell computer. So think in terms of keywords that someone might search for to find someone like you, or you for that matter. Remember, there's 1 billion people plus on the platform. When they're searching for keywords, geography, degrees. Don't put degrees in there. They're not looking for team players as part of their search criteria, so don't put it in your headline. But think in terms of how you might connect with your audience if you want to use branding as your solution. Most of you probably shouldn't. But if you're in marketing, you might consider what your brand is and expressing it there. So for example, mine has people hire me for no BS job search coaching and career advice globally because I make the process of finding work much easier for people. I also talk about being a 5-time LinkedIn top voice. And I forget what the other thing is that I mentioned there. But the long and the short of it is what I try to do is, Frederick offers, some people use phrases that are clever versus just keywords. Yes, that's true. And the question is whether they're going to be clever to the audience that they want to attract. That's always the thing. You have to think of the audience and what they care about. Remember, LinkedIn sells this product called LinkedIn Recruiter. And he says, I have more keywords now. Excellent. That's perfect. So coming back to the question, they sell LinkedIn Recruiter that allows them to search the entire LinkedIn database, narrowing it down by geography, narrowing it down by keywords or skills, seniority. So for example, and again, I haven't looked at this looked at the LinkedIn Recruiter product in a number of years because I don't do recruiting anymore, but they search by keywords, location, seniority. So college graduate, 0 to 5 years, 3 years of experience, 4 to 8, that sort of thing. They may search by title, but the long and the short of it is the message has to, what you put there is part of what they search for. And the algorithm is going to go a couple of extra steps. So you've asked me to focus on the LinkedIn headline. I want you to think in that area as being important. And I also want you to think about your profile too. And I've got a ton of videos at thebiggamehunter.us. I haven't brought over my link or created a LinkedIn course yet. I will be doing that very soon. But in the meantime, that's some good advice I can give you about improving your headline. Think like the audience that you want to attract to you. This is going to be the first thing they see other than your name, your picture. So you want to have the picture be a great picture of you. The banner picture behind you has to look great and not stupid. A lot of you have stupid banner pictures, and they're easy to get, and don't copy them from Google. Go to sites like Pexels, P-E-X-E-L-S, and other free sites where you have images that you can work with, and then size for LinkedIn. I don't remember the current dimensions on LinkedIn banners. Just do a Google search for it, and you'll get the banner measurements, and you can download a free use. Unsplash.com is another site that you might consider using to get free images that are royalty free so that you don't get in trouble. And I must tell you, I made a mistake one time and I had an admin download a picture of the New York Giants quarterback at that time, Eli Manning. It was on my website. It was caught by a firm that looks for this, and I paid a lot of money for that mistake. So I'll just simply say, go to a site like Pexels, Unsplash, and there are others as well, and look for images that reflect the message that you want to communicate. I use Canva, so if you go to my the Big Game Hunter LinkedIn profile, linkedin.com/in/the Big Game Hunter, and look at the image behind me, I created that in Canva. And I do have a paid account. I don't know what it would be like if you use the free account, but you'll see my branding is very clear there. It's easy to create, and do something that makes sense for you and the image that you want to create. Again, I go back to Frederick, who is in nonprofit marketing. More keywords is great in the About section. You've been conservative in the past. Just be accurate. That's the other part of this. Accuracy is important because if you get an interview for something for which you're not qualified, what's the point? You won't get hired. It's a waste of your time and theirs. Okay. So I've got more questions that I received in advance. And again, I'll just mention JobSearch.community. I've got free content there that will help you with your search. Again, JobSearch.community. And get comfortable with me. I've got 6 tiers of service. If you're not sure, pick the least expensive one, which is $49 a month for access to all my content. You can ask me questions through the site. With very rare exceptions, I answer within 24 hours. Like I know in August, there's a week my wife and I are going up to visit our son in Vermont where he's working. I may be in the car at different times. I may not respond within 24 hours, but I'm going to do my best to continue doing that even while on vacation with my wife. So again, JobSearch.community, $49 a month, up to $1,000 a month for 4 hours of time per month, and the content. And there's a lot of tiers in the middle. Whatever you choose, I'm good with. Generally, if you're not sure, I encourage $79 a month because you get access to 2, I say 20-minute sessions, but they always go a little longer with me. And, you get a recording of any session that I do with you. So you don't have to memorize, take notes, or do anything along those lines. I want to help more people. So I received more questions. Let me get to the next one. Oh, yes, this one. Is there any advice for job seekers over 50 that are being discriminated against? Yeah, before I get to that, let me just simply say, Frederick editing, I've been using a very clean, basic background. I want to improve it, but only do something with minimal design since everyone has a different taste. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I couldn't agree more. Simple. Canva, you can ask for a minimalist background. You can pick images off Pexels or Unsplash.com that are fairly minimalistic. Find something that matches your taste. Okay. So with this question, over 50 job hunters that are being discriminated against. So the question is, why are they discriminating against you? They could just be biased, of course. And frankly, do you want to go to work for a bigot? That's an interesting question. But let's work with the idea that you want to demonstrate to them that they're stupid to not hire you. So to me, one of the things to always do is understand that when firms hire, competence is only one thing they're looking for. They look for self-confidence, character, chemistry, maybe a little bit of charisma, because charismatic people always do better than non-charismatic people, that you care, that they can connect with you because they want to trust you. Now, discrimination takes many forms. Number one is you don't even get the interview because your resume sucks for them. It shows too much experience. They think you're going to be too expensive for their job. They're willing to pay $100. They think you're going to look for $150. And you know what? They're right. So what are you fighting against? The idea is you want to scale back your resume to get through the applicant tracking system to a real person. So that in this way, you have an opportunity to be asked out on a date. Once you're asked out for the phone interview with the screener, the idea is to make it easy for the screener to want to refer you to the hiring manager. So when you're being screened for an interview, I'm sure you've had any number of these where it kind of sounds like they're going through a checklist. Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done this? Have you done that? And in doing so, you want to hit the check boxes. Tell me what you've done about this. You probably have a job description that you submitted your resume against. So make it easy for them to see the fit. Duh! Make it easy for them to see the fit. Pretend you're talking to an 8-year-old who's got ADHD. And you want to make it obvious to them, because once you make them think, they hesitate because they don't want to be criticized by the hiring manager who says, "What are you, an idiot? Why are you giving me this resume? You're wasting my time." Ugh. So it starts off with your resume. During the interview, when you see someone, whether it's on camera or in person, where you just get that sense you're lost, somewhere along the line, the idea is to drop in and say, "Look, I don't know what you think about having someone older than you work for you. I'm sure you don't have a bias against this, but a lot of people do. So let me just address it right off the bat. I wouldn't do this as the first thing. I would do it 20 minutes into the conversation if you feel like you're losing them." And then you say, "If you have any question about my willingness to do this role and take direction from you, who's obviously younger than I am, I have no problem with it whatsoever. I'm not one of these people who will talk behind your back. I'm not going to criticize your decisions. Haven't done it before, don't plan on starting now. If the issue's around compensation, I'm not looking for a position at your level. I'm looking for a staff role at this time because I don't want your job. I don't want your headaches. I want to sleep at night. If you judge that I'm capable of doing the job, great. I'd love to work for you. If you don't think I'm qualified, that's fair. But I don't want you worried that at my age, he'll never work for me. He'll never work out. He'll never fit in. She'll never fit in." Because I will. I've done it before for many years. My last manager was 20 years my junior. No problem whatsoever. And from the standpoint of working for someone younger, happy to do it. Okay. So let's go on to the next question. Given the hour, I may only do two more because I do this show for about a half hour. So if I haven't covered your questions today, I will next week. Okay. Next question is, there we go, is having more recommendations beneficial for job searching on LinkedIn or getting hired? Yes. Yes, it's absolutely beneficial. Let me explain why. If they could look at references, but they think references are canned. And after all, are you going to give someone who's going to give them a bad reference? Of course not. But they can look at your recommendations at their convenience and do it before they even interview you or during the process. They can see what the emphasis is to the recommendations. So I'm just going to pick something that may not relate to anyone. If you say you're doing development in Java, just to pick out one thing at random, and all your recommendations are for a different programming language, why are they going to want to talk to you? So, in my case, I have about 120 recommendations on LinkedIn, plus the endorsements as well. Prioritize your list of endorsements to emphasize the skills that are most important to you. It's very easy to do. Then from there, come back and have people write recommendations for the things that you want to be known for. So yes, I'm absolutely fine with that. Absolutely fine. And it's funny, Frederick, I happen to use Otter. It gives a transcript and a summary of sessions I do. If you're comfortable with me doing that, great. If you'd rather have your service do it, I'm fine with that. There's going to be, I hope there's no conflict between the two, fighting over who's going to get what, but I'm have no issue with that whatsoever. So last question for today. Okay, that was redundant. How important is the LinkedIn profile URL? So the answer is it's not per se important, but it's important. The reason I'm kind of phrasing it that way, it doesn't really matter And it matters insofar as if you want to tell people how to connect with you, you don't want to remember my LinkedIn URL is linkedin.com/in// Jeff Altman dash, what is it, 12489L. You want to make it easy to roll off your tongue to make sure that it's memorable for you to be able to tell someone. So think in terms of your LinkedIn profile as being part of your business card. And if you were telling someone your phone number, you'd want to be able to tell them your phone number. Your LinkedIn URL is not going to be any different. So give them something that's created a LinkedIn URL that's easy for you to remember and easy for them to remember too. As you saw, mine is linkedin.com/in/the big game hunter. If you visit my LinkedIn profile, you'll see that's my branding. And when I did recruiting, I trademarked the term the big game hunter for a variety of categories for job search. And now it works very well in my coaching practice. So yes, change your LinkedIn profile URL. It will make it easy for you to have people contact you, which is what you want to do. You want to be able to tell them what the URL is, invite them to connect, invite them to look at it. It should be on your resume. Yes, you can embed it, embed the URL, but don't bother. Just give them a clean URL that they can see. So I'm Jeff Altman. Hope you found today's show helpful. If you didn't, you're watching it on YouTube or LinkedIn, share it, leave a comment, click the like button, do something that lets people know that it was worthwhile. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn. As I said, it's linkedin.com/in/the big game hunter. Mention that you saw this. I like knowing that I'm helping some folks. Once we're connected, your network is going to be a lot larger. Also, JobSearch.community, where I've got free stuff on the homepage. And if I were to direct you to two things in particular, number one is a short ebook called Diagnosing Your Job Search Problems. And the other thing is, about elevator pitches. I've got a bunch of other stuff. It's basic material. It will be helpful to you, but I've got more in-depth stuff if you become an insider at the site. So again, that's JobSearch.community. I hope you have a terrific day, and most importantly, be great. Take care. Frederick, I'm sorry, there we go. How would you prod them? I'd call them up and say, hey, would you write the recommendation? I sent you a request not long ago. Could you write it and draft it for them? That will make it easier. And then tell them I'm trying to make it easy for you to do this. And if you don't like it, please customize it as you see fit. Have a terrific day and be great.